Okay, so I've turned on the recording. You can see my screen. Anyone? I can see this slides I have put on the, uh, it's on my screen right now, and I'm sharing it with you. So just let me know if you can see it. That's all.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. It's starting to record now. So I'm going to talk about the URL formation and to see how we can use in URL operator. So let's start with learning about the structure of a link or something that requires a bit of an understanding of its structure, like how it is laid out and what does it mean when you start to read the URL. That's what we'll start with. So I'm going to start with very simple example. Then we will look at few types of URLs and then figuring out how the Google snippets, the return results, how do they show the link at the top above the title portion. So start to look at simplest URL. This is a URL that is for a company called abccompany.com. And this is showing you a simplest format which starts with the protocol. Protocol means it is a notation kind of, or it is something which is responsible for triggering the action by the World Wide Web to recognize it as an instruction which starts with HTTPS, and it is a sort of a encapsulation that prevents the link which follows after the colon sign and the HTTPS. It makes it secure and it makes the link to reach or to allow you to reach to a destination page. That page we call landing page also, which opens up when you click on the link. So if and we don't have to worry about the HTTPS and the colon sign up till this, and even after the two backslashes, which is indicating that the domain name is going to follow after the two backslashes. Up till here, we don't have to worry about anything to do with your search or your search queries. The action starts after the two backslashes, where the domain name is set and where you are seeing www, it's no longer required anymore. Like it is assumed or is considered to be there and no need to write it. So these days you see the link without showing the www. So in effect, let's start with the structure of how it is set after the domain name, including the domain name and after the domain name. So abccompany.com, .com, .edu, .gov, whatever the extension might be, it has to be part of what is set to be recognized as a domain name. So abccompany.com is a domain name. After the domain name, we have to think. Now, let's start with taking an example of a typical folders that you maintain on your, on your machines that you're using at computers, where you are going to have a name of a main folder, and inside the folder you may have another few folders. We can call them subfolders, and they are named also. And within these folders, you keep documents like PDFs, whichever format of document you've kept, their docs, etc. So the documents that are kept which are in a certain format, um, that documents has titles, or it has a subject or something that gets identified with what the document is about. So the title of it, or anything that defines the document itself, which is a name document, like I said, Word, Microsoft Word, or PDF, whatever, that is similar to how we recognize the title statement on HTML pages. So the title of the document is also called a named page document, or it is a landing page, or the landing page has a name. So up till now, it's just giving you an outline of how the folders are set on your desktop. And at the same time, if you look at the link, it has a similarity, or you could say it is set in a similar way. So let's suppose abccompany.com is the main folder, and what follows after that is a backslash, and backslash means that it is now giving you the, or taking you to a subfolder of abccompany.com. In this case, what is named as a subfolder is in blue color, it says products. So within the abccompany.com, you have a folder called products. And within products, there is a paper, assuming in the same sense of how the folder on your desktop works, there is a title or a name of the document, which is followed by the second backslash after the word products. And this title of the page is Internet Research Techniques Executive Recruiter, for example. So the name of the landing page is in green color right here. Subfolder is products, where this title document is held. And if we want to look for the, or figure out what is the nature of this page, whether it is HTML page or a PDF or a doc file, we will have to go a little bit further than this. And if I can use my notepad here, mm, okay, I'll have to write the whole thing. Well, instead of writing the whole thing, let's just now, if this page, Internet Research Techniques Executive Recruiters, now this being the title of it, you would notice a bit of a difference in how it is written in the link format. You could see that it has dashes in between these words. We've got 5 words here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there are these dashes. Now, these dashes are for a reason, and it is actually a convention in how we're going to separate the words. But the dashes don't have any other meaning except that it is like a placeholder, or is just telling you that this is a separator, basically, or a gap, or assumed plus sign, as we know in how we write the search queries and put the phrases together. The gap only means that there is this is a separator between the two words, or the words that follow. So dashes don't have any other meaning except that you can think of it as being spaces and nothing else. What is missing in this link, which I'd like to put in, is the nature of the URL, or the extension of the or what makes this page, um, an HTML document, or a PDF document, or a Word file. So what would indicate the nature of the file is a dot that follows the word recruiter, which is the last word in the title. There will be a dot, and followed by the dot would be um, the abbreviations like HTM, HTML, PDFs, doc, and all that. So that sort of tells you the nature of the documents. And if you can read the URL from the face of it, you can tell what kind of page it is taking you to. That is the missing part here. What is shown in this one down here is not as relevant because I just explained to you, but you can see how it is trying to tell you that the host name or the domain name, we call it host name or domain name, same thing, is the main folder. And what is after the backslash is a subfolder called products. And within the subfolder products, there is another backslash, which is now taking it to the actual document or the title of the document, which is in green color right here, is the last leg of it, of the stem of the URL. That name is for the document that is held in the in the target folder or where it is leading you to, and the name of the document is revealed. So that's the simpler way of how the URLs are set. If we are to do a search using in URL colon, in URL means that you are asking the search to find the named document or the wordings rather that is followed by the colon sign, which needs to be matched exactly with the words that are in the URLs or wherever those URLs are found in the search, it is going to match those words. So if the words are products, it is going to look for the word product in the URL, or it is internet research, it's going to look for internet research and try to pull this URL. So basically, the entire stem of the URL, which is from ABC company onwards, is looked at as if they are just common words or they're just, phrases, or the textual part of whatever is set in the URL, irrespective whether they are the domain name or it is, the folder or subfolder or the title, irrespective, it is only going to match the wordings that are found in the URLs that it is going to search for. So the entire stem of it is just nothing but a textual length of the sentence or a long series of wordings, which can be matched using in URL followed by the colon sign. Now, um, in the coding side, there is a match that is done for whatever is held within the, let's say, a tag called href. href, base href is a tag that contains the URLs. Sometimes they're short URLs like aofirs.org, which is for the home page. And if it is, membership or any other page, there will be a URL that is displayed right after the base href is equal to tag. And those URLs are what is queried when you run in you. Let's suppose I run in URL colon AOFIRS, not necessary to put .org. Okay. Let's say if I put um, the word AOFIRS, it is going to look for the URLs that contain the word AOFIRS, no matter where it is. Either it could be in the domain or it could be in the rest of the structure somewhere in the URL stem itself. It will just match the word AOFIRS. And this is where it is pulled and shown in the snippet, as you can see. Now, URLs, this is a little bit a technical situation where uh, you would find all sorts of URLs that are, floating around in the internet world. Uh, for instance, there could be, less complex or very simple URLs, or there could be complex ones, which means there would be, alphanumeric characters, notations, and things of that sort. And you can observe it when when you're doing your Googling or you're going to different pages, you will see the structure of the URLs vary a lot. And sometimes URLs appears to be very complex, other times they're simple. But when you look at the complexities and you are try to understand or try to interpret those URLs, you may need some extra bit of knowledge to know where or what this URL is going to bring to you in terms of search results. Okay. So there are basically for your understanding and for you to recognize the two types of URLs. Uh, think of them as being static links, which means when you click on links like this one, by the way, this is not a real link. It's not abccompany.com that actually exists. Or maybe it does, I don't know, but this just an example. So the one that I'm looking at right now, or I'm pointing to this one, this is a static page, means that it is a page that will just open up as piece of information. And it's not actionable page, like it is not a dynamic coding, which means that there would be no registrations, there would be no, any kind of actions like searches or the smaller searches that are there, or even other type of dynamic things that can happen. Uh, that's in the sense of where the user can go and do some inputs. Okay. So if you're not able to do that on a page, we call it the static page, or it is information only page. So static pages example is shown here in this link as if it is a static link. And when you look at the other link, which is the link that is attributable to the actionable coding, which means that it acts on certain information on the page, or there could be something that allows for the user to interact on that page with the website or with the given options on those websites. That is happening because the page is a dynamic page, or it has the ability to change information or bring information from the database to display it to you. So those links can be recognized ahead of time, even before you click on something, or in case you find a link from one page to another and you can read the link, you would know whether it's dynamic, it's leading you to dynamic actionable pages, or it will be a static page only. So to read a dynamic link, you can think of a link that is set here. This is a slightly older link, meaning that it is got few things like there is this blue color port number that don't show anymore. Um, so let me show you what this dynamic link is made up of. So this is the domain name ignore colon 80. It's a nobody reveals the port number anymore because it used to be used for hacking reasons. So anyway, just think after .com there is a backslash, and you could see wordings that are followed by a sign or characters or notations. So listening module, let's say listening module is the page in domain sherpa.com, and it is followed by question mark. Question mark means that it is now triggering a query. which is something that connects with the database and goes and fetch the information from the database, then can be, that is mostly secure area. And question mark is saying that to query that database and bring that information. So there will always be a question mark followed by just to for your information what these highlighted alphanumerics or characters or the numbers indicate. So after question mark, there is a DOC ID, which means it's a document ID. So there'll be abbreviations of different sorts, but these abbreviations are generally recognizable or it is understood throughout the industry where the programmers know what it means. So DOC ID is a document ID. And then there is an equal to sign. Now it starts to show numeric characteristics is equal to, and then you can see that this is the numbers or the combinations of numbers. It may have alphanumeric or just numeric characteristics. So the idea after doc CID or after the question mark is to declare that this code is now going to go after a document that is numbered, or these numbers are, are like codings for those documents or those tables of those documents where the documents are held in the database. So this numbering or numerics keep changing, and therefore they are hiding or trying to protect the database. Then there are these characters like notations and HL. HL means language, HL, I'm sorry, is equal to EN, English, and then followed by what is in green color highlighted as hash sign 00H02. So this is the name of the specific document that is held inside the table that starts from 7824 and all these numerics. So that the table has a record number which is starting from hash onwards in green highlights. So basically, it is coded or it is hidden or it is given some sort of credentials that um, makes it less obvious for someone to recognize the nature of the document or what that document is about. It is just a querying of the database. And the structure that you see here is called a dynamic code. And just by looking at it or something which is similar to this sort of mix of alphanumerics, and it is very much extended, usually very long URLs, that means that it's going to take you to a dynamic page, which, like I said, could be either registering yourself, doing transactions, querying a database for search reasons, all of that. Knowing that that's where it's going to lead you, you would know that you would be prepared for it to either have you interact with that page, unless you have a URL such as this one, which is the simplest. Now, there is a third dimension to this. The third dimension is that Google search wanted to use the URLs as a piece of information that has a significance for its search results or indexing system to reproduce what is held in the indexing of it. Um, because it wants the URL to reveal certain information that can only be interpreted in terms of the textual format or how they're worded. So they started to make a rule saying that a lot of URLs are somewhat, having all these confusing numbers and alphanumeric characters that made its ranking algorithms or its indexing system confuse with, what to expect or what to index, as textual wordings is the only thing search would understand. So they decided to create a rule asking the programmers to now use a convention if they want convention of how the URL should be formatted so that their pages can be found on the Google search. And they asked the programmers to make it into a format called breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs is a format which is what you are seeing, or what is revealed in your return snippets at the top. You know how they have the results that are shown in this one. Let me just open this a little bit. See, what used to be very long URLs with alphanumerics and everything included prior to what is now called the breadcrumbs, you can see the comparison. What this URL, the first one, is showing, and it is not even complete, like it doesn't have a lot of space to accommodate the entire link in the snippet format. But now that the format has changed, the same link can be translated as Google. And then there is a greater than sign, which is actually simulating a backslash, and then about page. Now it has shortened the formatting of URL. Then again, black backslash replaced by the arrow pointing on the right hand side. Um, Company, history, so it becomes simpler. Now it is totally textual. Um, this one, for example, you could see was another example of a complex or a longer URL. So what used to be, where it is showing these dots between the two backslashes means there's a lot of information. They could be just the textual content, or there could be alphanumeric held in between or coming after the .org, followed by another backslash that is continued with the word history of Google as a landing page title. So that became a little bit too long and complex. And see how the search now looks at it, or how the programmers have changed this URL or these formats into a breadcrumb formats. But in reality, and I'll show you with some examples. I'll have to take a break a little bit early today because I have to make one important call. Somebody's birthday today. So let's take about 10 minutes for the break. I'll be back shortly. It might be like 15 minutes. So just give me a little bit of moments here, and I'll be back shortly. So turning off the video and audio for the time being. I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, now I'm back, and we can continue with the slides. Meshti and Joanne and Aromi, and hello there, Anthony. Welcome to the class. There you are. Um, let's continue. So, when these links, or the longer links or more detailed links, they were including the dynamic links. All of those links are there in the pages, and there are, like, some of the sites are really, really big. So the programmers cannot translate all of those pages into the breadcrumb schema. So what they did is that they applied a technique called masking, which means the simplified version of that link is formed in the format of a breadcrumb. Um, and that is actually the short form of the longer links. So breadcrumb schema is created automatically for those pages for the SEO reasons. And that's what you get to see in the snippets when you look at the URL at the top. So that having said, let's move forward. with some of the examples of how you would, or the things that are revealed in the URLs at the basic level. I call them basic because there is a second dimension to it, um, and that I will explain to you later. But right now, let's just be focused on the domain name, or how the structure of the URL is going to reveal some interesting information. One of the things that are important, first of all, to recognize is whether those domains or the domain names are um, coming from the genuine site or the original vendor of that site, or it is rigged, or it is something that is simulating as if it is the original site, but the information or the pages displayed are not exactly coming or from that vendor's original web pages. So to learn that, we look at the example of yahoo.com, for instance. Take this example because some sites, they become very, very big, and there are so many pages there that it sort of creates a situation for the owners of those websites to maintain the optimization of the pages, or it creates a lot of burden on their servers. And for few other reasons, even security reasons, they create those subdomains for their main website, or the website they register with. Let's say yahoo.com belongs to the original web owner of Yahoo, and they want to make sure that their domain yahoo.com is not used in any other way except for them to make that main domain name broken down into the subsets of that domain we call subdomain names. So if you look at this slide, you see, and you will also observe, let's suppose you want to click on the Yahoo Mail. When you look at it, you would see that the domain name in the URL does not start with yahoo.com, but it starts with mail.yahoo.com. So the first word mail that is before the actual domain name is indicating that the now you are getting into a subdomain of Yahoo. And the fact that the word mail is actually coming before the dot followed by the domain itself means that it is genuinely coming from the yahoo.com. If the word mail was placed in any other way, or if it was coming after the word yahoo.com or after the domain yahoo.com, it is not coming from the genuine subdomain of yahoo.com. Similarly, if it is news, then the news section or the subdomain of yahoo.com called news will be bringing the information from the genuine owner of the site yahoo.com. Why? Because the word news is coming before the domain name, or what is followed by the subdomain called news is followed immediately by the domain name yahoo.com. Okay. So just remember that in order for you to identify some pages to be genuinely coming from the original domain owner, you will see if it's a subdomain, it will always have these segmented, these wordings are basically dividing it into another set of, or it is um, another subdomain. Let's just call it a breakdown of the different sections or the different pages that are now attached to a domain, as shown here, for travel, for news, for mail, and for games. This is how it is separated, and this is typically done with the subdomain. So if you find something that says especially in the phishing kind of, it's called phishing because you get certain scammers sending you links that contain the word, let's say, PayPal in it, but and makes you think that it is genuinely coming from PayPal. But if you look at the URL at the top, you will find that the domain is actually domain dot say XYZ dot whatever, but whatever is followed, what follows the domain name itself, as the wordings that are simulating as if they're subdomains, they're not, only because the structure of the domain is not similar to what you're seeing here with the words of subdomains, or the section of the domain, the domain name is not coming before the actual URL or the domain name of that company. So if I say, mm, as an example, if I see a domain that has something like paypal.com, or let's say paypal dot merchant services.com, this is a scam. For it to be a genuine domain or a subdomain of PayPal, it should say members or merchants. Sorry, let's say merchants, merchant dot services dot paypal dot com. This could be genuine. Usually they don't put, I mean, this can work also. This may be genuine, but there is the best way of how the subdomains are written is usually one words. So this could be also genuine. You can tell the difference in how it is written, that the subdomain would look like 2 and 3, but not like 1. So what does the URLs tell you? We are going to see how to spot fraudulent sites, identify file formats, provide technology info, help sort source credibility, differentiate secured websites. So this is the basic information, as I said, that you will gather first. In this example, mm, okay. So these are slightly old because it doesn't show the breadcrumb. So I'm just going to have to ignore this one, because it is talking about how the longer website, or what used to be long URLs, how you would interpret that information. But since this is no longer revealed to you as a user, we'll go to the next one. Now, one of the things that would happen is that you would see the link, which is forwarding your, there is temporary links that you can buy these days. These are, this is unfortunate situation where, you are given some temporary links that you can use that would have a name which is matching the name of the original site, but actually it's masking the original site's link by substituting or replacing it with the genuine name, which is a temporary link that you can buy by paying some, some money. So let's suppose you get the temporary link called mybank.com, or this is how it seems to appear in the URL when you go to that page, or even on the page where you have to click at one time on a link which appears genuine. But when you click on it and it takes you to a page, you would notice that the URL is changed, the domain name on top. So that is a forwarding link. Sometimes they are actually they misspell, or they give a name which has got few of the letters missing, or they look same but they're not. So if it is mybank.com, if it is a bank site, that's what it is trying to say. If it was my bonk instead of my bank, you wouldn't know the difference. Then Um, as I mentioned to you, the subdomains, they are not the way it's written here. If it is, say, mybank.com scam site means replace it with any other name, .com. So this entire link might just have wordings starting with mybank.com, but the actual genuine URL somebody bought had the name of the bank, .com, because you can buy the domains that would have more of the dots available to you to make them part of the domain name, and you can extend that to make it appear different, and you can still buy that domain or register that domain. So if someone has bought a domain called mybank.com.scamsite.com, they can do that, because this is treated as number of words that are naming the domain name, or this is the domain name that the registrar might just give you if you are trying to buy it with the slightly different variations of it, as you could see, starting from my bank and ending with the last .com here. Whereas this .com is actually the extension of the domain, and here .com .scam site, the com part is considered as part of the wordings or the name of those domains. So this is another variant. Um, and so there are these close variations of it. It is just showing you as an example, like developers.google.com is a genuine domain, because the word developers, or the subsection, the subdomain is now named developers.google, and google.com comes after the word developers. It is a genuine domain, whereas a scammer might just get a domain name like developers.google.scamsitename.net, and so on and so forth. So it is also the domain part, or the first leg, what comes after the two backslashes, that you need to be careful about in order for you to recognize it as coming from the genuine owner of the website. The second thing that is revealed in the URL is the type of file formats. Now, these are the icons that we don't get to see anymore. And this example is coming from the previous versions of the older illustration of how these snippets used to be. In any case, what is important is this one where I'm pointing to. If you look at the link, at the end of it, it says .pdf. It means that it is a PDF document. So the type of format is revealed in the link. It could be .html or .doc or any other format in which it is indexed, that can be revealed in the link also. But that revelation comes at the very end of it. That is the last dot that follows the extension name. So that's the second thing. Uh, okay, right now, it is not helpful for figuring out what is the type of technology that that page is made up of, because the alphanumerics or the longer links are no longer revealed in the first go. When you look at the snippet, you only see the wordings. So, but previously, if you looked at the longer set of links, or even today, because those people who are, managing very huge websites, they cannot just change all the original links, which is, typically containing containers of a lot more information. So what they did is they, like I said, they have masked it, or they have applied breadcrumb as the upper layer or the first layer of the recognizable URL, whereas it is actually behind that, it is masking the genuine or the longer URL. So, because that is not revealed anymore, you have to go and click on few links or see at the address bar to know if the actual or the longer or the masked uh, link is revealing. That's where you can find certain type of information like the technology, if it is PHP, if it is Java and all that, that is also embedded in the longer URLs. But because you don't work with that anymore, you don't have to worry about it. So what this slide was telling you is that it shows the type of technology. For example, the original or the link that remains intact or is part of those pages, um, which are, like I said, which are the genuine or the original URLs, they would have information like .php question mark ID is equal to 37. That means that this page is a dynamic page, and there would be a kind of a indexing barrier. That means after this page, you may not be, the indexing may not be able to um, um, cache that page or put it in this indexing. So this could be the last leg of that URL that would ask you to interact with it in some way before you are given permission to enter into the database of that site. So this was the information that was revealed. Remember the question mark, ID or doc ID, all of this will use to reveal. Now, these are okay. Then the credibility of the site. If it is coming from the top level domain name that has got .edu, .gov, and .orgs and so on, it is considered to be more authentic, or it has the authority, or those pages are called more authoritative, because it has an information that has a procedure of getting um, vetted, or you know um, getting some sort of credibility to what information is contained in that. That's what we relate to when we look at the source to be educational institution, government agencies, and so on. So that's another information that is revealed. And HTTP versus HTTPS. If you look at the, see, HTTP is also a secure element or a secure protocol that was there earlier. Now HTTP has become more advanced, and they have added more security features to it. And therefore, the HTTP link needs to be converted to HTTPS, which is a higher level of security. So how secure the site is will also depend on whether it says HTTP or HTTPS. Another thing that you can do with the links is that you can actually look at the links and go to the web pages directly. For example, if you look at this URL, you can see that the landing page is called habits.html. in the subdomain called kangaroos, starting with this website. This is mammals is the main folder, marsupials is the subfolder within mammals as a sub navigation, and then the last, uh, and then you've got another backslash taking you to kangaroos as a subdomain of marsupials. And when you look at the last one, it says habits.html. If you want to go to the page mammals instead of marsupials, you can do that by just eliminating the word or anything that is followed after the mammals backslash. If you just get rid of all of this, it will take you to a page called mammals. Okay. So that's all it is saying. So you can shorten it and go directly to those pages. It also reveals the platform of that page, like if it is coming from the original site or it is coming from another hosting platform, which is not the original uh, source or original ownership of that information page. In this one, you could see that there is a site called slideshare.net, and it is holding the PowerPoint, or this is probably the PowerPoint that is uploaded on a shared hosting website called slideshare.net. In the second one is an example of whether it is coming from the genuine owner of the site. So if you compare slideshare.net with ietf.org, you will find that the same slides are there, but it is actually coming from the original owner and not being placed on a third party platform. That's all. That's pretty much, just the basic information. Now, how does all of this connect with the in URL operator? And with this information that we have gotten so far is giving you an insight into how you can get an understanding and read the domains and the links um, at the basic level of the information that it is made up of. And what we are getting into now is giving you a little bit of insight on what is the additional info which can be which is usually found in the URLs. Now, what is that additional information and how that will help in bringing the pages that are coming from a source or coming from a region or area of where it is actually originated or where it is held originally. Or you could say that there are two ways in which we can differentiate how the URLs can this information can be useful in running in URL commands. This one, for example, is talking about top level domains, and you could see that these are listed here. So if you want to go to a source coming from educational institution, you're going to, for example, in URL colon, and then you're going to write edu. So you know that the URL contains edu as a wording that is belongs to an origin of those sites that is relating to educational institutions. Military would be .mil.gov. So these are the abbreviations you can use to get to those top level domains using in URL. In the in URL, you have another geographically distributed abbreviations of countries of origin of where that information is coming from, or if that website belongs to that country or the registrar has registered that domain name within those countries. So this information is also in the URL, like .au, .bd, .th for different countries, IN for India, CA for Canada, you know. So if you want to use in URL to contain .uk, we know that the pages that it's querying or looking for that matching wordings should be coming from UK sites. Some other extensions which are also very popular are, for example, bbc.co.uk versus bbc.com. bbc.com is coming from, I don't know, it is international version probably, and bbc.co.uk as part of the domain extension is coming from the UK only websites. And so this has got a lot more of the different characters or the uh, abbreviations of indicating, the TLDs and the geographic hierarchy and the origin um, is listed in detail in the book. So you can actually refer to the book. This is all that we could accommodate in the slide as an example in URL. Hmm. This is a better example. So let's suppose that this is the example we start with. We are going to see how the in URL actually works with the query that you can compare with, or say query that you can formulate. As an example, if you've got text returns 1099 as 3 words, it is going to bring the results that contain words, text, returns, and 1099 in the URL, and not necessarily in the same order, but as many of these that it can find, with the exception of text, which is mandatory coming right after the colon sign. So to see whether the result or the URLs that revealed in the snippets contain all 3 words or not. So with in URL, we got link that is displayed right here, which is, and this is the breadcrumb format. Okay. And this is the actual genuine link. So when you see the words text and you see the word 1099, it is there, but the word returns has been dropped in the URL. Now, in URL is only matching words in the URL part of that page, which is got a title right here. But when you actually see the address bar and you look at the link, you will find that the word returns has been dropped. Okay. That is because you have used in URL instead of all in URL. In order for you to have in your URL all of these 3 words present, you're going to use all in URL. All example. Hmm. Okay, here it is. Yeah, okay. Anyway, if I had written the same thing using all in URL, then what's going to happen? What is actually in this slide, it is not showing it as an example, but it is showing you as an uh, as a as an equation of what can be translated as all in URL. So if we are to do all, and by the way, we don't use all as I told you. Usually it is not as feasible and it is not flexible enough. And sometimes it is not even worth using because it will not operate with any other instances of advanced operators that you can add in the or you can use in that uh, query. So I would say that in order for you to equate or to make a dissimilarity with use of in URL versus all in URL, you can think of all in URL with these three wordings to contain all of these words in the URLs that are found. Meaning that if I used all in URL, I will ensure that all three of these wordings are inside of this URL that is found, and it will not drop any of these three words just because we have added all. And another thing to remember is when we do all in URL, we are asking the search to not ensure the sequence of how these words are coming one before or after another, but rather there would be a guarantee of presence of all of these, except they can be found in different parts of the URL. Okay, so let's suppose there was a word returns dropped here in the link, and if I had made all in URL, the URL will return the link that has not just the word text and 1099, but also the word return somewhere in the length of this stem of this URL. So that is the only difference. So we don't want to spend a lot of time on that. Um, so what is the information that is important for us that gets revealed in the links? So typically, if you look at an example of this link, you will see that it has the title, which is YouTube dominates Google video results in 2020. All these wordings are the title because it is the last backslash. It may be, it may have like .ppt, .html followed by 2020, which is not shown here. But let's suppose that this is the wordings of a title, and then the word blog is a subdirectory to the domain name moz.com. In other words, moz.com has a folder called blog, and the title is shown here. But when we run in URL followed by the wordings as it is, as if those wordings are just textual or text words, uh, mm, they are to be matched anywhere in the entire length of that domain. So if I said in URL moz.com, I am asking the search to find this as a word, not as a domain name. So moz.com is exactly what is found here. And this is another way that we can replace the site colon or the domain restrictor to be replaced by in URL. The only difference is that when you use in URL, the declared property has a characteristic similar to the textual form, or it is a considered wordings. But when you do site colon, what is declared after is considered a domain name, which must have the extension like .com, .org, whatever. But when you write in URL, you can even put moz. You don't have to put .com. You can even put moz. Um, yeah, you can put moz without using the .com. So it will just look for moz in the entire length of the URL, not necessarily in the domain part. But when you write in URL moz.com, it is looking to match everything that has got an extension .com. So typically it is trying to recognize the origin of the domain, which is moz. In URL, YouTube dominates. See, this is the entire title that you have actually placed in front of in URL. I'd rather be putting the quotation marks in closure for the entire length of this title, so that, and knowing that I remember well how the words are put together as a phrase and how they are not any different even with the singulars or plurals. So all these five words, YouTube dominates Google video results, should be verbatim as they are to be recognized exactly and matched in the URL. So even if I made a little bit of an error in singulars or plurals, as I mentioned, or if there's a misspelled words, there would be a problem, provided that I have placed them within the quotation marks. This is without quotes, but assuming if it is quoted inside of the quotation marks, then there would be a higher responsibility and higher expectation for it to be exactly verbatim as it is shown here. Then the other piece of information which is separated from the title, as you could see, that there is the 2020, the year itself, which is not actually shown as part of the title, means that when you use in URL, and because these are not within quotes either, it is going to match all of these words as if it is looking for whatever comes or is declared after the colon sign. Uh, and it could be a partial sentence, it could be 2 words or 3 words, it wouldn't matter. As long as it is these words after the in URL colon, when whatever their number is and whatever their sequence is, it is going to match it with the wordings in the URL. The 2020 is also another information that makes it into the URL no matter where it exists, even if it is part of the title or it could be a subfolder. We don't have to be particular about that. As long as the year 2020 has to be matched anywhere in the URL, you can break it as we have done over here, where we have taken the partial sentence or partial words and separated 2020 to be found as a separate set of information in the URL. So 2020 is revealed with the another instance of in URL shown, as you can see right here. Right now, we're just explaining the concepts, and we will do a lot of examples with in URL. You will be surprised how much of the information we can get, and there are so many variants. So we will take another full class to do those examples. And right now, just focus on whatever is shown in the slides as some of these illustrations. Okay, we'll stop over here and we will look at the typical URLs. I have this slide, which is revealing, or at least is giving you, typically now this is the type of URLs that you will find everywhere. Like most of the information that is contained in the typical URLs is shown in this example. For instance, never mind the way we have formatted the query. Let's look at the link. So the information that is revealed here is the domain, and you will also find that there are usually dates also becoming part of the URL. You will also find navigations like, for example, in CNN.com, this is the date of the upload or where the story is uploaded in the news section. Within news section, you may have the sub navigation called technology or TECH. So you would see that the subfolder is shown right here. Another thing that is revealed is index.html. So this .html is important. This is the first time you're seeing that the extension .html is showing. What this URL How this URL was revealed is because of this query that we did. So in URL, you could see that we are looking for CNN.com. In URL, we are looking for another word called robocalls. Now, if we had written instead of robocalls, we wrote robocall with a singular, this URL will not reveal and this snippet will not get returned and there will be an error. So in URL, whenever we are using in URL, it is very finicky and very particular about singulars, plurals, misspelled words. it will not do stemming or lemmatization function. Whereas in title and in text will do stemming and lemmatization. So this is the technical point in using in URL. You have to know exactly the words so that they can match uh, their presence in the link verbatim. Another word, robocall, was used. Why? Because we don't remember the entire title. We just want the word robocalls to be found in the URL. So we put the word robocalls, and then we also knew the date somehow. So we put in the URL or the link that it should find the date as it is written right here. Now, if I take this example and use it in the notepad, I'll tell you what errors might be possible and how we can overcome them when we are using in URL command. Can I take an example 4? Different ways in which we can look for the dates. First of all, if we in the URL we want the word CNN and not .com, we can even do this. Okay. If it is not the domain, if it's just the word CNN, we can put it like this. But let's say for now it's CNN.com, but change I will make is here. So if I lose this part and just use 2021, it will probably bring some more of the pages that has a link containing the word robocall somewhere in the stem, and also has other topics that contain the word robocalls that are coming from a date other than March, let's say 4th. Um, so whatever is contained in its index that is coming from the year 2021 will get revealed. Okay. And if I put a date, or put 03, even this will be a match. Okay, as long as it is written like this. So this will be, you can write it even like this. The idea is to match whatever is declared after, but it should be exactly how it is spelled in the URL. So if the same thing is written somewhat with an incorrect way of writing the date, say instead of 03, you put, no, instead of 2021, you put, let's say, 03, this will be incorrect. Why? Because the matching is not accurate. The real date is written like this in the URL. So you're matching everything that is in the URL in the way it is written, or it is sequentially arranged. Why? Because uh, this is like considered one textual context or one textual word. Okay, even though these are dates, but they're, let's assume that these are words. So these words have to be exactly how it is to be matched. And anything that you write slightly different with the month like this, but because there is no gap between 03 or 0 backslash in 2021, this is considered as one search term. This is also one search term. If we wrote the same thing, let's say 2023 in URL, this will be correct. Search will find this, but will not find this the way it's written. And if you wrote it like this is correct also. Okay. Here we don't quite remember the day, but we remember the month. But see how you write it and how you not leave a gap and make it like a one search term, which can be written correctly or incorrectly depending on how you have, changed the placement of the month and the year. I think I need this to be put in your notes. 40. I think they have moved this thing. I don't know if this query is still working or not because I remember it's a quite an old query. So let me try it in any case. Yeah, it is still there. So let me reveal the link. By the way, when you see these three dots, this entire link can be more detailed. If you want to see the DNF that or the original link, you will click on these three dots. These three dots will open up a pop-up that's going to reveal the entire URL and give you some additional information. So let me just click on this. See, this is the expanded link. So let me copy this link. This is the link that came about, or the snippet had a link, which is this one. Now look at the information it has right here. Now, if I made a mistake, like I showed you here, if I did incorrect search, which is this one, let's see what's going to happen. Zero results. Now, let's suppose I put in URL 03, in URL 2021. Now see what happens. We got the link, right? Just as I showed you, just as I told you, this one, it was correct. This was incorrect. Okay. And when I go to the page, which is what I'm going to get to by running this one. This was the example. So let me take this, go to this page. So on this page that I have landed, I want to share that robocalls pre-pandemic levels index. So if I wrote this within quotation marks, it would find exactly this page. If I did not put anything in detail and just use the word robocalls, I got a lot more results basically. I'm sorry, I got the result that has a lot more variations of using robocall in its page, except that the date is what is revealing the exact page or even if I have some bit of information which connects to this specific page, instead of getting a lot many pages, like the date would do the trick. So I got to the exact page I wanted to go to. Now, other information I wanted to share with you on this is at the top where it says tech. So tech is the technology section of CNN business. Um, Here it is. See tech right here. This is the section. So one of the information that you get to see in the link is the navigation or the folder in which this topic that contains the word robocalls is is available, um, or that's where you would connect this with the tech section. So instead of going to the to the CNN.com site, then going to the tech section, you could use the word TECH, knowing full well and understanding the wordings of some of the navigations or the subfolders that you will eventually go to. That would be an information that comes in handy if you're familiar with the type of navigational wordings. So if I know the word tech would take me directly to the tech section of robocalls pre-pandemic levels, whatever that's there, or the word robocall is held in one of these pages on 20 March 4th, 2021. I would certainly would have some knowledge to use the word tech and not techs or technology. So if I use the wrong word like technology here, it would not reveal this, okay? Because the subsection is only showing the short form of the word technology as TECH instead of technology. So if it is TECHS, it's CH, then you should know that that's how it is named in the original sites, or the navigational address bar would show you if you, for example, go to a media site area, for example. Let's go to the media, and you can see that the link says CNN.com business section, and within business, there is media related information or information coming from something. Let's just pick up any of these and try to build a query to get to that specific media related information. So let's pick up anything, any information, um, any heading. Let's say this is where I want to go to in media section. The story is William Lewis is named publisher and CEO. When you look at the URL, you would see that it is showing the word media and the title here, and it is indexed as an HTML page. So if I want to get to this particular story, how will I construct the in URL query? Can somebody tell me if you want to volunteer is okay, otherwise I will do it. Let's suppose this is a link and I want the search to take me to this page, a link of this page, or to find this page in my snippet. What kind of query will I make? How will I construct a search query?
In URL?
Yes. Let's make a little bit of variation. Media
I have
section.
I have
Yes,
a
go ahead.
question. So how
Yes.
many NURLs can you put in one search? It can't be unlimited, right?
No, no, nothing is unlimited. Only the universe is unlimited.
Well, yeah, I
Uh,
didn't mean that to.
the thing is that with the kind of an embargo or the maximum length of any URL you can construct in an address bar or a search bar should not exceed 32 words as far as I remember, and not to exceed 1668 characters.
Okay.
Uh, and I think I have this information in the slides, but I don't quite now, I cannot connect with what slide it was. But that's an important information because imagine if you have to, especially when you're filtering out some unnecessary wordings that keep coming back in one way or another as contextual text with your search query terms, that you specifically don't want to include certain words, you can just keep putting minus and exclude those repeated, kind of or contextual wordings that don't belong to that primary search target search terms. So, there's always a question how many of those minuses you can use, how many of the wordings. And normally there are like maybe sometimes there are 8 to 10 words that just keep popping up, which has no relationship or may have a false positive situation with the primary context, which exactly is something you don't require because it has got similarity with some popular search terms. Could be a name of a famous person, movie, or something which you don't want. So, you just keep doing minus this, minus that, minus this, exclusions. And how much of those exclusions you can put in. So there is always a limit, and that should not exceed 168 characters. And that is a confirmed fact. Now, Google keeps changing these lengths and breadths of these and the density of these allowable characters within certain type of tags or certain type of uh, s- you know the queries that you can create. But from the latest that information I have is 168, but it could be more or it could be less. It just depends on how they, when they change it, I wouldn't even know it. So, usually you don't want to do more than like 4 or 5 instances of something, which is typically considered to be an overdo of or overuse of certain, uh, operators, um, like repeatedly doing it just makes it more lethargic, more chances of error. Try to make it more concise, more effective, not to make it too long. That should be a habit. Uh, anyway, with the URL that we want to get to, what else should we put in here? I've put two of the instances of the same in URL. I use CNN instead of CNN.com. I think it would also make a difference. You get more return results. See, when I write CNN.com within URL, it is going to look for these as the domain specific. But when I write CNN, it could be a link that is referenced with relationship to CNN somewhere else on third party site. Or it could be the second tier or a third tier news agencies that are referring to the CNN news link. So you get a lot more scooped up when you're using it as I've written with CNN as a word instead of .com. So not to actually make it specific to be coming from the CNN.com domain. So this is one additional flavor that I would see that would have usefulness if you want to do a deeper searches to reveal all the links that would be related to or has the wording CNN in it. So, okay, continuing with the same, let's see what else we can put in. Uh,
The the
let's say
year.
Washington Post. Huh? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say the year.
Yes, good. 2023. So, in whatever is coming from 2023 within the media section with the URL containing the word CNN in it. What else now? As far as the title, by the way, you don't put in URL index as a word or .html as a word, not necessary, right? So we're just playing with, or this is the only last leg of the title of that story where we want to go to in the media section. So we can use any kind of words. We can use in URL. Let's suppose we remember post publisher or William Lewis, right? We can put this here, right? We can put now if I don't remember this entirely as one single title term, and I can remember that it is a story that has to do with William Lewis. At least that's what I remember. I'm going to put the word William Lewis without the dashes. Don't put the dashes. So I put William Lewis. I can even put it within quotation marks if I'd like. I'll make it more tighter. And in URL, if I only remember that it is coming from, let's say it has the word publisher in it or it has the word Washington in it, which I don't quite remember as part of the phrase to be written together with all the following words that comes after Washington. I would rather, break it into multiple in URLs to just ensure inclusion of these words rather than the one single search term. Because if I rewrite the search term incorrectly, I will not get the results. So therefore, I have broken it down into the wordings which I remember, or if I only remember with relationship to William Lewis, the word Washington Post, I can just put Washington Post. Let's try this one, and then we can do some more variations of the same thing. So if I want to run this, hopefully it should execute as intended. This is the page. It took me directly to this page, which is correct. Now, what could go wrong in this is what we will look at. Could go wrong. We've done the date part, but well, what if I wrote instead of Washington Post, I wrote Washington Past. Let's suppose I made this error. Would there be stemming and lemmatization or not? Would it correct itself?
No,
One of the reasons, one of the reason is that you have put these within quotation marks. Now
right.
let's suppose I just lose the quotation marks and I try it now. What is going to happen? The word Washington is mandatory. It is not a problem. Past can be another word that may not necessarily be part of the URL, but could be a part of something that is considered a word in the body of text. So that's why it might just let it go. But if I made a error here in the word Washington and I wrote Washington with a A here as a misspelled word, then for sure it is not going to execute. But here I might just have a 5% chance. So let me try this. It corrected because it took the word post as a word that is not specifically related to the URL, but anywhere. And because it is not put within quotation marks, it let it go. And as I said, there was a 5% chance. On the other hand, if I put this within quotation marks, like right here, then it didn't work. Now let's do another variations of it. Now suppose this was correct and this was incorrect. Then what's going to happen? See this? Null result. Why? Because the word Washington coming right after the in URL is a mandatory return. It is forced to find something that is uh, supposed to be the state of Washington, the named wording Washington, but misspelled. And because it was forced, misspelled force word coming after in URL will not function. Similarly, any error that is forced as combination of words, making it into a single search phrase with the quotation marks, will also make it invalid with the misspelled or incorrectly placed singulars or plurals. So, do you understand these variations? I am going to summarize it right here. Let me just summarize this, and I'll show you with this summary what is workable and what is not. So let's just copy this again, make it version C. Let's make it version C. Okay, so I need some time to now started to run some in URL search queries using domains, but I think I do site colon first before I start using extensions like .org, this, that. And then because I have to compare those sort of queries with use of site colon versus use of in URL. So I'm going to have to do it in the next class. So we'll just end this session today. And there is another link that I want to send you coming again from the from our website or you what is it AOFIRS uh, and that's on the YouTube. I would like to go there quickly and give you that link. Um, uh, what is that? YouTube.com and AOFIRS. AOFIRS. Let's okay, copy this. I don't know why they've put the ads in there. It's a private account for us with YouTube, but they're still running the ads. This is going to go to you through the chat window. Just look at the chat window. Just spend about 8 to 10. This is probably going to be 10 minutes, at least 10 minutes video. So I want you to go through this. Even you want to do it now, you can do it, or you want to do it at your own time. It's up to you. But please copy and paste this link. And if you have any question, you can bring it in the next class. But right now, I think this should be sufficient, and we are still not quite done with in URL. I'm going to do the site colon operator first, and then connect it with in URL, some more variations of in URL use, and the way we are able to discover the source of information as coming from the blogs or articles or forums, um, or any specific source or any of the subsections or the subdomains of certain websites. So we can get to that sort of or build those search queries after site colon is done, and then compare site colon within URL, and then embark on this source discovery of where you want the information to be coming from, or for matching words to come from that specific type of information source. So just remember that. So with this thought, I'm just going to say end of our session today. Any questions from
Mm,
anyone?
For me, it's fine. Thank you.
Okay, good
Mm.
enough. Okay, Romy, Majdi, Anthony, Joanne. See you day after tomorrow. We have a class on Wednesday now, right?
See you then.
See you. Bye bye. Thank you.
All right. Have a good evening.
Yeah, you too, everyone. Good evening to you.
Good evening all.
Good evening.